Visit prosperunlimited.com and click travel to book your next vacation.
For a man who finds it to be difficult to be faithful after being in a promiscuous lifestyle, and neither should you. Nobody told you to be promiscuous before the relationship, and nobody made you be monogamous with just her. You don't want her? Let another man have her. Simple. But the truth is, you've probably been cheating months before you actually put your dick in her. And more times, I would say 9 times out of 10, when the dude gets caught cheating, that wasn't his very, very first time cheating. That wasn't his only time cheating. That was his only time getting caught.
I agree with you, Derrick. Okay? And guess what? Derrick Jackson himself is a cheater. Oh, he just got exposed by a woman named Candace. I can't pronounce her last name, but Derrick Jackson, who is a married man, brought this woman to Atlanta to stay in his house. He shared with his wife and kids. The woman Candace, who Derrick was cheating with, actually took pictures of her laying in the bed he shared with his wife in their Atlanta home. Derrick Jackson, who spells his last name Jackson. Why? I don't know. That bothers me. Jackson may be a slave name, but when it comes to black people, it's one of the greatest last names you can ever have. Why would you hack that? I mean, when you're talking Jacksons, you're talking Samuel L., Janet, Jesse, Bo, Randy, Mahalia, and of course, see, my father always told me that when you lie, you're not lying to nobody but yourself. And I have watched you, since this story broke, just lie and attempt to continue to manipulate the public. I mean, that's what you do. You manipulate people. You get online and have these bad faith arguments, which is also textbook narcissism, meaning you don't care about or even try to understand the people that you speak about. You said it yourself. I don't have no sympathy for a man who cheats. Not only do you not care or attempt to understand the people you're talking about, to have any sympathy or empathy, all right? You are dedicated to deliberately misunderstanding and mischaracterizing others to make yourself look good. You like to paint other men as being dishonest and deceptive and morally corrupt. Why? Because you're a narcissist, and that's what narcissists do, project their BS onto other people. The reason you love to paint men as dishonest, deceptive, and morally corrupt is because that's what you are. See, Derrick, I waited to give you donkey because I wanted to see how you would react to all of this, and you reacted by doing what you've been doing all this time, and that's lying. See, I saw the first video you posted when you first addressed the allegations. You said that you and your wife were separated during that time and that you and Candace have had a sexual relationship without actually having sex. Word salad, lies, denying, changing definitions. This is textbook narcissism, people. Lying about what happened, denial, delusion, trying to confuse us to make us doubt the reality of the situation. See, narcissists are often ill-equipped to have mature discussions or resolve conflicts, but in their mind, they are experts at it. Okay, he don't even really understand what he said, but in his mind, he's being rational, reasonable, and correct. But the reality is, this nigga just lying. That's why what he's saying don't make no sense, okay? We had a sexual relationship but didn't have sex. That's why it's just an incoherent rant with no logic, because it's a lie. Then hours later, Derrick Jackson came back online with his wife to admit that he did cheat and that he was unfaithful to his wife. Derrick, if nobody else has told you, what you did to your wife was wrong. All right, she had nothing to do with this. She wasn't with you when you was out here cheating with these women, so she shouldn't be with you when you're doing damage control. This story has nothing to do with her. Nothing. And what's sad is you are more concerned about saving your business than you are about saving your marriage. You are more concerned about what we think of you than you are about what your wife thinks of you. Okay? You care more about what we think. You're more concerned about what we think of you than you are about what your wife thinks of you. King, if you're going to use your wife as a human shield, like Nino Brown used that kid as a human shield in New Jack City, at least get her glammed up, okay? You got her up there looking like she forgot it was a second part to the Buster Challenge. I was waiting for her to drop and come up fresh, but that never happened. And guess what? You don't care. You didn't care about the backlash she could receive. You be on social media all the time. You know how cruel people are. Not only does your wife have to heal from your infidelity now, she has to heal from the bullying that she is currently receiving online. But a narcissist like you don't give a damn, because your goal as a narcissist is to dominate and be perceived as right at all costs. Do you know the complex your wife is gonna have now? It's impossible to not be impacted by what people say about you online. Ain't enough God and Jesus in the world. You can put on the whole armor of God and God will protect you, but you still gonna feed into what people are saying. And you could have protected your queen from all that because she had nothing to do with it. This is about you and your behavior. If she forgives you, great, but that don't mean drag her out and have her on your arm looking like a damn puppet off Crankacres and you the chief manipulator controlling all her movements. But that's what narcissists do. They deflect, attack, project. That's why he had his wife there, to deflect. Then he started talking about John Gray because Shade Room asked him a question. You should have just ignored that, but you can't because narcissists love to shift attention from what they are saying and doing. This brother Derrick Jackson went so far as to deflect and blame Jesus. It's the audacity for me. I've never heard a person say I gave my life to God and now my life is effed up. That's not how that works. Derrick, God told me to tell you, stop lying, nigga. Okay, God, Jesus, the Holy Ghost, they don't got nothing to do with your ways. In fact, they told me to remind you that this is nothing but the devil. That's who should be getting the blame here, the devil. And the devil's name is Derrick Jackson. You're the liar. You're the manipulator. You're the narcissist. Giving your life to Christ didn't F your life up. You F'd your life up because you live in a lie. And you had the nerve to blame God. You did the same thing to Jesus that you did to your wife. Brought Jesus into it for no reason. But the reason you do this is because you never truly have to take responsibility for their toxic behavior. That's what narcissists do. Narcissists do things like this. The only reason he brought Jesus up is because he never truly wants to take responsibility for his bad behavior. Derrick, I decided to give you donkey today after what I heard you say last night because it confirmed for me what I already knew. You are a textbook narcissist. Like, you need to be studied. See, gaslighters, narcissists love to speak in the third person. Why? Because it distances them from when gaslighters, narcissists feel that not enough people are praising them, they praise themselves. Speaking in third person is a reassurance to the gaslighter narcissist that he is worthy of adoration. Derrick, it's just simply time for you to shut the F up forever. Take a break. I know last year with COVID, money probably was tight because you weren't getting booked for speaking engagements to show up to lie to people. And I know you see your business crumbling before your eyes, but King, just go get help. You need to do some real soul searching. You need to do some real therapy, and you need to fix what's wrong with you. Don't get online today trying to project, deflect, and attack anyone else. Prove to us that you are not a narcissist by shutting the hell up. I challenge you to disable all your social media and go away for some months. Vanish. I know as a narcissist you believe that you can talk your way out of this situation, but no. Because see, if you don't stop now, I know where you're going to go from here. What's going to happen is instead of really taking responsibility for your actions, you're going to continue to deflect and start attacking other people. And that's when it's going to get bad for you. Because right now it's just Candace. Well, man, oh man, there's so many women that are ready to talk about how you tried to holler at them. And if you don't stop while you're ahead, it's going to get worse. And I know it may feel like it can't get worse, but Derrick, it absolutely can. Just go away for a while. I know you got an extremely fragile ego and shaky self-esteem. You're going to be online looking for the handful of people who's still stupid enough to support you. You're going to be reposting them and retweeting them to receive more false validation, looking for folks to side with you and tell them that you are right and good and blah, blah, blah. Well, you can prop your wife up, you can deflect and attack others, blame others, act like you're happily married now and continue to use this situation to promote that book of lies you have on your website with you and your wife on the cover. You can put a ribbon on a piece of shit and it's still a piece of... Okay? And if you proved anything to us this week, it's that you, sir, are a piece of... Can you change that? Sure. We all grow. But you have to make a commitment to yourself and not this idea of yourself that you have created online.
Welcome to our main course segment where we discuss life and love. Okay, like... Where do I begin with this? I saved this. Normally, I'd be talking about life and love instead of current events, but I feel like this is a special today. I think today is going to be a special. It's funny because episode 56, I had just got through discussing dating coaches. How ironic is this, right? You can go back to episode 56 and recap what I mentioned about dating coaches and what I like about some of them. It was about four of the top dating coaches right now as I'm recording this. It was Kevin Samuels, and these guys may or may not consider themselves as dating coaches, but I don't really care. They're considered as dating coaches amongst the masses. It is what it is. That's the lane that they've carved out for themselves, and that's the space that they've put themselves into. So it is what it is. You got to accept it. Yeah, it was between the 4 dating coaches: Kevin Samuels, Derrick Jackson, Tony Gaskins, and Stephane Labossiere. And it was between the 4 of them, and I gave my opinions on each of them, and you know what I like about them and what I think is corny about them, and I actually did mention that Derrick Jackson is the corniest, right? And I think that was for a very good reason, and lo and behold, the dark has come to light. Let me first preface, he's not the first and he's not the last. The only shock is the hypocrisy, not necessarily the cheating. I don't think anyone really cares about the cheating, even though the women are pretty triggered by the cheating. You know what I mean? But the cheating is simply a byproduct, and very much so I don't know, as you could say, yeah, the cheating is very much a byproduct. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're shocked at the hypocrisy. This man really postured himself as such a good guy, and he was wagging his finger in a lot of men's faces with his little videos in his car all the fucking time. Like, why are you always in your car? But yeah, he was wagging his finger in a lot of men's faces, and it didn't come off so authentic. No one is that judgmental. No one authentic is that judgmental. You know what I'm saying? And there was something about it just wasn't right, and the men sniffed it and they sensed it, because men know men just like women know women, right? It was just like, yo, why is this guy why is he presenting himself in this way? You know what I mean? And yeah, he came off. Yeah, he had the total package. You know what I'm saying? Tall, dark, handsome. You know what I'm saying? Well built. You know, you could tell he lives in the gym. All that, right? And he looked like a lady's dream, like every black woman's dream. And when he spoke, he was so articulate and eloquent. I wouldn't say necessarily eloquent, but well spoken. You know, just well spoken all around. And it was just like, what is this? And as men, we look at him like, yo, what is his stick? Why is he trying so hard, right? And the women, naturally, they're just gonna sop it up. They're just gonna sop it the fuck up, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them. But the men were correct after all. You know what I mean? However, we needed guys like Derrick Jackson. You know, we needed guys like Derrick Jackson because he kept a lot of women from jumping off the roof and slitting their throats. Guys like that you need, right? That's why women flock to churches and they love their pastors so much, because he keeps them sane. It's not just a sexual thing, it's a psychological thing. They need that. They need someone. I think I really do. I've realized and learned to respect the need for hope. You know, I used to want to wake people up and snatch the rug up from under people and shit and rain on their parades, their fallacy and delusional parades. I used to want to do that, but then I had to wonder, like, if they're not gonna, if they avoid the delusion, if they come out of their delusion, then what's next, right? Because some people, you don't know the fragility of their psychology. If they come out of their delusion, then what's next? Really? None of us quote unquote sane people really ask ourselves that when we look at someone who's a woman, like, you know, a woman or a person who's delusional and thinking that, you know, whatever. And so yeah, we needed that balance. We needed that delusional balance, if you will, as fucked up as it may sound. But I think behind, well, for those of you listening who don't know, Derrick Jackson was a prominent dating coach, and he was outed recently by his mistresses. First of all, this man spent upwards of 12 to 14 years on social media and the internet, portraying himself as the quote-unquote perfect single guy, period. Maybe some people knew he was married, but no one really cared he was married because he came off as such a perfect single guy, right? So with that in tow, he presented himself as this perfect single guy. Black women flocked to him. Over the course of 12 to 14 years, he made a good fortune for himself doing this, and going on television and speaking engagements across the country, just telling women what they wanted to hear. And it was outed recently that he's been double lifing. He's been living double lives and serial cheating, and that was his MO. And the hypocrisy was the fact that he would chastise men so much. He would chastise men and big up women and tell them what they want to hear, and be so condescending towards men and their ways and the ways of men. And for him to come out with this scandal, it was very hypocritical, and that's what the big hoopla is all about. At the end of this, I do believe that he'll come out unscathed. He'll come out unscathed because, once again, he is the total package. He's handsome. He's tall, dark, and handsome. You know what I'm saying? I don't know is he tall? How tall is he? I don't know. He's tall, dark, and handsome. You know what I'm saying? Very well spoken, and very crafty. He's well spoken, but he's very crafty with his words, just like any charlatan would be, right? So I do think he'll come out unscathed. He'll have a chink in his armor. He may take a few losses, you know what I'm saying? But I think he's built up a 14-year legacy of telling women what they want to hear. I think you're going to be set. So someone is going to continue. They're looking. Those his believers, his followers, his fans, his stans will be looking and sniffing and fishing for a reason to believe him again. Because that's just how psychology works. Like I said, you can't knock hope. You can't knock the power of hope. If you take away someone's delusion, then what, right? So yeah, he's keeping these women from jumping off of buildings and bridges and slitting their throats on the way down. So let's be realistic about that. But who will replace him? Who will replace him? Who can stand and plant the flag as the ideal, perfect single man, right? Single boyfriend, husband potential. Who's gonna plant that flag? Who else? Who's gonna replace him? And can he be replaced? Right? Who has that savoir-faire and that magic that he had? Who has that? Do we know anyone who has that? We don't, do we? Not yet, at least. You can say not yet, but we don't. As of right now, we don't know. We don't know who will or can replace him. So let's just take it for what it is. He pandered a perception of perfection. I mentioned earlier, he sold himself as the perfect single potential boyfriend or potential husband, and that's what women thirst for. At least black women, you know. He may be delusional to himself, which is why he was so convincing. The best way to sell a lie is to believe the lie. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to sell the lie, is to believe a lie. This man lived a lie because he believed in the lie that he was living. You know what I mean? He's too young to be so wise. I mean, the man just turned 30. Now, I don't knock that so much. I don't knock that so much simply because I didn't finish the compilation for Leave the Fairy Tales Up to Disney up until I was maybe about 28 or 29. And there's a lot of wisdom in that book that is still relevant to this day. You know what I'm saying? So I can't knock him that much. But the finger wagging and the condescendingness and the chastising, yeah, you bro, like, earn some stripes, you know what I'm saying? Get some stripes, some notches under your belt, and some stripes on your arm. And you know, get some salt and some seasoning in the game before you can talk the way you talking, bro. Like, for real, that's basically how some men felt about him. You know what I mean? Yeah, feel-good preaching will always sell. You know, feel-good preaching will always sell. However, from a business perspective, like we talked about with Mona Scott early in this episode, is he wrong for exploiting a market or making a lane for himself? Is he wrong? He did the wrong thing the right way. As this is what I say about like crooked preachers and guys like him, charlatans and crooked preachers. They do the wrong thing the right way. And it's business. At the end of the day, it's good business. You know, only but for so long. I mean, you got to keep up with it, right? And I guess he couldn't. Because he couldn't, maybe he couldn't afford the hush money to those side chicks, right? But it is what it is. So yeah, is he wrong for exploiting a market? Is he wrong for making a lane for himself? Is it possible to be a hypocrite and still convey a message? Can we listen to the message and not the messenger? It's easy to sell truth when you sell it with hope and feel good, and when you package it with hope and feel good. Some people sell truth and package it with lies. Some people sell truth and package it with hope and feel good. And I think that's what I was getting at in episode 56 when I was talking about dating coaches. They package a lot of their truth. It's easy to sell truth, whether you believe it or not. Like, just for someone to tell the truth about something, you don't really care who says it as long as it's being said, right? So it's easy to tell the truth when you package it with feel good and lies, and that's how he's branded himself. You know what I'm saying? Hey, ladies, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, and I'm going to look sexy while doing it. You know what I'm saying? Come on, what's better than that, right? You got their attention. It is what it is. Is he a hypocrite? And this is a point that I got from another YouTuber. Is he a hypocrite or a victim of his own advice? Because would we be stoning him the way that we are on the internet if he didn't sell himself up to be such a way? You know what I mean? You know, would we be stoning him in the same way? Is it wrong that he cheated, or is it wrong that he got caught? What I mean is, as far as his brand is concerned, do we care more about him cheating, or we care more about him being a hypocrite as an audience and as spectators and onlookers? You know, what do we care more about? You know what I mean? Because let's say he, you know, lived a full life and went on to his grave and raised his kids and put them through college and made millions along the way, right? And these side chicks never came to the surface, and you know, he was never outed and he never got caught, right? And let's say you yourself listening to this right now, you found out in some wacky roundabout way that he cheated, right? How would you feel? Would you really care? As opposed to him being outed and, you know, and sensationalized on social media, you know what I'm saying, and in tabloids for being a hypocrite. What hurts more? What hurts the brand more? You know what I'm saying, to you as an audience and an onlooker and spectator? You know, that's a question. That's a question to have. In all of this, let's not make a sport of tearing down another black man. All right? I'm gonna drop that grain of salt right there. Let's not make a sport of tearing down another black man. Is he a hypocrite? Yes. Is he a charlatan? Yes. Is he does he sell hot air? Yes. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? His brand is damaged from it or I should say stained. His brand will be forever stained with this hypocrisy, right? But he's still a father. He's somebody's son. He's somebody's brother or sister. I mean, I'm sorry. He's somebody's brother. He's somebody's cousin, so on and so forth. And he's, I'm gonna be compassionate to that extent. You know, did he commit a crime by the laws of the land? No, he didn't. He committed a crime to his wife. And even if so, and I'm gonna get to the wife. Ooh, let me get to her. Please let me get to her. But I'm focusing on Derrick Jackson. Did he commit any? Did he, by the laws of the land, did he commit any crime? No. Did he commit any sort of moral turpitude? Yes, to his wife. Maybe to his children, because reputation-wise, so on and so forth. But no, he wasn't drugging anyone, to my knowledge. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't drugging anyone like some other celebrity. He wasn't, locking, women in rooms and making them shit in the pail, piss and shit in the pail. He wasn't doing that, to my knowledge, allegedly. Like some other celebrities, he wasn't making videos and peeing on underage girls, to my knowledge, allegedly, right? Like some other celebrities. So all he did was live a double life and have an affair at the end of the day. And so I'm not gonna make a sport and a spectacle of tearing down another black man, because we need to keep that same energy for our counterparts, for our racial counterparts, albeit race being a social construct. We still need to keep that same energy. If you're gonna tear down a black man, you should be able to tear down a white man. Period. I'll keep it there. The wife. The wife. Her looks. And I was listening to the chitter chatter. I was dropping my 2 cents too, but I was listening to the chitter chatter on Clubhouse, and we feel so sorry for her. We feel so sorry for her. So let's just break it down piece for piece. Her look. This is the first time in maybe 12 to 14 years where her personality is coming to the surface on social media, as her being linked and married to this social media personality, Derrick Jackson. You know what I mean? So up until this time, most of us never knew she was even married, let alone knew what his wife looked like. You know what I mean? And that, I think this is the real eye opener to the whole scandal. Is like, oh shit, he's married? Oh shit, what does his wife look like? Oh shit, that's his wife? You know what I'm saying? So her look, I think the first time she came out, I remember I was watching other YouTubers peruse through her Instagram prior to her making that whole video with the way Derrick Jackson was holding her hand all so tight. But yeah, she came out and presented herself with this bonnet and this drapery, and everybody and all the girls were talking about her being braless. And my question was that look strategic? This is the first time you present your wife to the world. After you've spent the last 12 to 14 years presenting yourself as a single man to the world, now you finally present your wife to the world, and this is the first image we give her. I think this may have been a strategy. If this was a strategy, if, a big if, capital I and a capital F. If this was a strategy, I think this is kind of an undersell and overperform kind of strategy. Let's say this was a strategy, right? So now you have your wife looking homely and homely as the fuck, and you present. This is the first impression we have of her. Beyond that, she can do no wrong. She can be a dime. If she puts on a grain of makeup, a grain of makeup foundation on her face, she'll be an automatic 10. Being as that this is our first impression of her. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't know if it was strategic. None of us really know if it was strategic. Yeah, I wouldn't hold it past someone like Derrick Jackson, who's made a fortune off of his image. I think another strategy to her look may have been, ultimately he's been using this scandal still, because he has to keep the lights on, right? He's been using this scandal to prop himself up. After the scandal came about, he was in his office selling his book, selling his latest book, right? The Heal Together or whatever book. He was selling himself once again, you know? And so he's always taking advantage of every opportunity to sell himself, right? And so now this is your first time introducing your wife to the world. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Why show her off as a baddie, right? Why show her off as a baddie? Why, you know, put her in position so that her DMs can be flopped, right? No, show her lowly and homely, and in order to make you look good, so that you can continue to sell your brand, and that we can all feel sorry for her and either bash you or feel like we have a chance with you, as you've been doing for the past 12 and 14 years. So if it's strategic, I think it's strategic in either of those two angles, you know, whereas it's strategic for her to, whereas if her first impression is lowly and homely, she can go nowhere but up, right? Or she can either look lowly or homely to make him look good and boost him up. So yeah, I think if it's strategic, then that's what it is. Is she, now the next point, is she the come up woman? Is she the come up woman, right? Is she that down chick who's been there for you when you ain't had nothing and worked her little job here and there to hold you down? You know what I'm saying? While she get up and go and, you know, take the kids to daycare and you still laying in the bed, right? And now you've made something of yourself and she doesn't have to work again, right? And so like, is she the come up woman? Now that he can afford other, better looking women, or not, no. Let me take that back. Now that he can afford more dolled up, surgeried up women, or women who are, now that he can have his pick of the litter, does he still want her? Yes, he may have a bond with her, because they came together through thick and thin. They've been together so long. He done put his dick in every orifice of her body, her nose, her ears, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so that bond will always be there. That's a bond. That body chemistry and those bonds will always be there. You know what I mean? But that spice, after you've done tasted the forbidden fruit and stepped out and seen what's out there and had Grey Poupon after you've been eating porridge your whole life, right? Is it still there for her? You never stop loving someone, but is it still there? That that you had when you looked at her way back in the day when you first met her, or when you were first starting to date, right? Is that still there? I don't know. Especially with a woman that looks and dresses like her. Especially with a woman that looks and dresses like her. A lot of people were saying they'd cheat on her too if their woman dressed like that. Women were even agreeing to that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Here's the next point. Will she get revenge dick? How do you level up from Derrick Jackson? That's a question. She has to get someone who actually did go to the pros at this point, right? That's the only way she can level up. And I think Derrick Jackson knows this. He knows that there's a chink in his armor now, and he's come off as a hypocrite. You know what I mean? And this rain is coming down as I'm going into this hot topic, and I don't think it's fair. But he knows that, dang, like, now my girl's DMs are open season and dudes might be coming for my neck and trying to get at her. Okay, dang. Like, what's God trying to tell me? Like, what, really? Is it that deep? But will she get revenge dick? Maybe the rain is like adding the spice to the conversation. The pitter patter. Will she get? How do you level up from Derrick Jackson? Is that hard or is it easy? I think she can. I think she can. I think if she puts on and dresses to the nines and bounces back and rebounds from this, she could level up from him. It'll be just a rebound though. It won't last long. But hey, we gonna pop our popcorn, won't we? Right? Will she get revenge dick or go through with the divorce? Let's talk about the divorce. Let's talk about the implications and stipulations and speculations about the divorce. What if she were to actually go through with this divorce? Now, judging by the cars, well, I wouldn't say by the cars, because he's always sitting in the car, right? But I wouldn't say he has a whole lot of money, but I'm assuming that he's a few million, he's sitting on a few million. After 12 to 14 years of public speaking and promotion and sales and all of this stuff, I'm pretty confident that he's well under 10 mil. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting comfortably. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty confident. So would he be able to go through with it? Would he be able to afford a divorce? Yes, of course it's cheaper to keep her. This rain needs to chill out for a second. God damn. And it's getting harder after I just said. Yes, I think he would be able to afford a divorce. I think he'd be able to withstand it. You know what I mean? It's just the child support and the alimony that would probably kill him. And then not only that, he can handle the divorce, but the aftermath of the divorce, I think that's what would kill him the most. You know, because remember, he still has to keep the lights on. He's the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? So he still has to sell and pander and sell and pander. You know, but how's he gonna do that with this tarnished image now? And like I did say earlier that he'll be unscathed, but at the same time, it'll be he might have a few more hurdles to jump now. That's what I'm getting at, you know? The way she's tooling religion, that's very, very unhealthy. If you know me personally, or if you've been following my podcast for some time now, or my internet television show, I should say, if you've been following this show for some time, you know that I was very religious at one point in my young adulthood, I should say. At one point in my young adulthood, I was very religious. And a lot of my religiousness was a cathartic response to the state of things in my life. The state of things between my family, and when I say family, I mean my mom and my dad, and the state of things between my children's mother. And I felt like everything was falling apart in my life, and religion was the one beacon that would uphold everything that I wanted to uphold. Religion was the cheat code for me at the time, you know? And it did what it needed to do up until a certain point, and which is why I let it go. And I feel like, yes, religion may be the glue that's keeping her composed in this trying time right now, because she's been very, very embarrassed, very, very shamed through all of this, and very victimized through all of this. And but I think a lot of us are in her corner. Even the men. I think a lot of us are in her corner and want to see her shine throughout all of this. But I think religion is probably keeping her sane at this point, but it's also pulling a lot of the wool over her eyes, like religion always does. And I think he's manipulated her to that. Is there some Stockholm syndrome? Now, one thing about the Stockholm syndrome, it's actually not in the DSM-5. If you don't know what the DSM-5 is, you can Google it. It's all over Google. The DSM-5, that's the journal where psychologists refer to for a diagnosis of certain mental health issues. So Stockholm syndrome is actually not in the DSM-5 due to a lack of research. But is there some Stockholm syndrome? He may have been abusive. He may or may not have been abusive to her. He may be physically abusive. I would assume that as articulate and hard charged as he is, he may be very verbally and psychologically abusive to her, which is why she's so religious. I could see how he could be very, very manipulative, because once again, he's using her to build himself up. You know, she's looking a hot mess. You're America's perfect single potential boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Potential boyfriend and potential husband. And you know what I'm saying? And so now it's out that you're married, and not only are you married, you're living a double life. Hey, it makes sense for you to use her, to manipulate her to a pulp, and use her to big you up. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy because she's the breadwinner. She has 2 kids by him, and she doesn't work. She ain't going nowhere, right? You would think that, but I mean, it's more than likely she's not going anywhere. With everything on paper, she's not going anywhere, right? So there may be some sort of Stockholm syndrome. He may be psychologically kidnapping her and manipulating her. You know what I'm saying? It's just simple mathematics at this point. If you understand human behavior. A lot of people have been dissecting her Instagram, and her Instagram is very telling and it seems as though she's been quoting a lot of scripture. Like, it seems as though up to a certain point, people have gone back years and years on her Instagram timeline, and it seems up to a certain point she was bigging him up. You know what I'm saying? And he was all over her. He was all over her timeline, but he never posted her. And that I can understand also, because you know sometimes you want to protect your woman. You know what I'm saying? You got all these thotties, you know what I'm saying, sliding up in your DMs, and then you don't want to put your wife out there, and then they start hating on your wife. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. So I get that. I don't really knock him for that, for not putting her on his social media. But don't present yourself like the perfect single man and then you have a whole wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. But yeah, you know, her timeline was very telling, and then up to a certain point, her timeline began to get very dark, and she started to quote a lot of dark scriptures, a lot of emotional sobby soapbox type scriptures. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I remember I saw one video, I seen a clip. I was watching a YouTuber, and they showed a picture. She had on this like Burberry plaid outfit looking, and she could get into fashion. But anyway, she had on this Burberry plaid type outfit, and Derrick Jackson commented, "Oh, we need to replace the light bulbs," or some shit like that. And it's like, dang, like you're really not attracted to this woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're really not attracted to her, or like you've lost attraction to her. And it can happen, you know, change is the killer of relationships. But her Instagram is very, if you want to follow those breadcrumbs, you can. I don't really care for it, but yeah, her Instagram is very telling. I think he's more worried about his internet career and how he's going to bounce back from all of this as opposed to just his marriage. I think he knows that she's not going anywhere. He knows that she's not going anywhere. And a part of her doesn't want to let him go and let these other bitches have him. That's a natural emotion. That's a natural thought. And so, yeah, I think he's worried more about his internet career, which is why he had to jump up and do all of this damage control and, you know, have her hold her hand all, you know, squeeze the blood circulation out of her hands on camera. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I really think if you were genuinely sorrowful, like this, like he did, and then like after that, he did another video speaking about himself in third person, trying to convince people that, you know, he's not perfect. Oh, Derrick Jackson did this, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, yo, just take it, like, just be like, hey, like, sort of like when Kirk Franklin did his apology, his unnecessary apology video. You know what I'm saying? Just say, hey, look, this is what happened. We did this, we did that. Not some old, oh, we had sexual relations, but we didn't have sex. It's just relations. Like, come on, bro. He's not sorrowful at all. He's not He has no pity. He has no sorrow or remorse for any of this. Just in his gestures alone. You know what I mean? He could have just been like, listen, hey, my bad. Like, it ain't my bad. It wasn't no mistake. You was living a double life. I saw, like, the side pieces, they shared footage of him sending video messages asking what kind of panties you got on and shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's really out here. He's really out here. He got one of his side chicks pregnant. You know, just messy. And certain guys just need to be single. They just need to be single, and he's one of them. Did she have any part of this? I think up to a certain extent, she was an innocent bystander. You know, she was just like, yo, this is my husband and I love him. You know what I'm saying? We've been together through college and thick and thin and all that. He was on the football team, I was in the band, and we love each other, and it's all great and gravy, right? And it's true, they did date in college, and he was on the football team and she wasn't on the band. You could find all of that from her Instagram page. But yeah, you know, did she have any part of this? I feel as though, like I said, you know, men cheat for a plethora of reasons. Men cheat because the wind blows. Men cheat because it's Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like most of the times when a man cheats, it's about 0 to 25% your fault. You know what I mean? 0 to 25%. But if a man leaves you, it's 75 to 100% your fault. And I had an episode I talked about that. I forget which one, but yeah, I had an episode talking about that. So if you've heard it, then you've heard it. If you know me, if you're on my Facebook timeline, years ago I talked about it years ago, and it got the women all kind of upset because they didn't understand math. but if you're with someone, you do play a part in them cheating, but it's a small, minuscule part. Because you're human. You can only do so much, and you cannot humanly expect to be everything to one person. You cannot expect you being one person, one human person, being everything to another person. You can't expect to be that. You know what I mean? And yeah, if you look at her and then look at the chicks, cause like she's fuckable. She's fuckable. If she put on and I saw her in the club, she may not necessarily be like my type, but my dick would probably get hard, you know what I'm saying, looking at her. Or, you know, she's cute, like she's nice. She's a nice girl. You know, like she's nice. She's nice. You know, but when you look at the side pieces, it's like, it's like it's the difference between like steak and mashed potatoes, between like lobster and asparagus, and, you know, squeezed lemon and a glass of martini and some wine or something. Like, you know, it's just two different worlds, you know? And so, yeah, it may not be her fault. Yeah, she's just been the consistent loving wife that she's always been. But now, hey, you know, I'm this big time internet celebrity. You know what I'm saying? And I'm amassing millions over the course of a decade or more. You know what I'm saying? And now I have access. My DMs are flooded, and I have access to women I never had access when we first started dating. I'm human. I might want to see what that's about. I might want to, you know, dip my foot in them waters. You know what I'm saying? And oh wow, like she does this. Ooh, this feels different. Oh, okay. And it has nothing to do with her at the end of the day. Like, she's just being the consistent loving wife. And there is a possibility for, you know, manipulation. You know, you could give it that, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's solely her part in him cheating and living a double life. Should he cheat in peace? He's the breadwinner. He's giving her children, so now he has to provide for these children. And he pays I'm assuming he pays all of the bills. So should he have, I wouldn't say he have a right to cheat, but should he be able to cheat in peace? I think he's done that. I think he's done that for the past 12 to 14 years. I think he's cheated in peace and, did what he wanted to do and came home and say, "Hi, honey, I'm home." You know what I'm saying? I think he's cheated in peace for a long time, and I'm pretty sure there are more, I'm confident, 100% confident, there's more side pieces than the ones that came out. For sure. And they won't say a motherfucking word. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't benefit them any. They probably got too much to lose or whatever the case. And then they probably out you, running game on these, high money, I call them high money because they might not necessarily be high value. They just high money. Running game on these high value men, and they don't want to mess up they you know what I'm saying, they don't want to mess up their hustle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, should he be able to cheat in peace? I think a lot of high money men do this, who where the family is dependent upon them, because let's say she kicks up a storm. How is, when it's all said and done, then what? You kick up a storm, you file for divorce, then what? Right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think anyone's talking about that, because people that kind of hurts a little bit. Like, damn, she got to sit there and take it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. The women don't want to touch that. The women don't want to touch that. Does she have to sit there and take it? Should he cheat in peace? The women don't want to touch that. And it's okay. I don't blame you for not wanting to touch that. It's a tough conversation. That's a tough conversation. Because these celebrity instances are kind of mirrors to, us common folk in our social lives. We use these celebrity examples as mirrors to our social lives. So yeah, should he cheat in peace? The question of double standard. I don't know. I'm gonna skip that because I don't really see how that applies to any kind of double standard. What's next? What's the rebrand? What's next and what's the rebrands? How's he gonna bounce back? I'm hearing scuttlebutt about him wanting to, him getting into a religious lane now. What better way to show some, and I think that's textbook. I think that's textbook. Let him be religious. Let him be, let him turn into a preacher, and yeah. Oh my gosh, that may be the ultimate rebrand. That may be his key to amassing more millions and more all of that. That is the ultimate key. Getting into the religious space and becoming a preacher. Yeah, oh my gosh, his church doors would be so flooded. 6 feet apart, keep your mask on. But oh my God, yes, that's the ultimate rebrand right there. And expect to see that. He's gonna act oblivious to the scandal. He's gonna either act or, portray as being oblivious to the scandal, and he's gonna sell up religion. He's gonna sell up religion, as he's already done in these first few talks that he's had, these damage control speeches that he's given. Especially with the wife. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the new shtick. That's the new stick. So yeah, expect that rebrand, and yeah, it's only a matter of time. Yeah. That concludes our show. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. And if you appreciate the show, go ahead and show it in Cash App at $prosperityullc. Join our new Patreon to receive free merchandise, books, and consultation from Prosperity U LLC. We would like to thank you for tuning in to Prosperity U LLC and continue to invest in the brand.